Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video, we will look at
eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So, eukaryotic cells contain membrane-bound organelles, whereas prokaryotic cells don't. So, we're going to have a quick look at animal cells, quick look at fungi cells, and we'll see how bacteria are prokaryotic cells. So, eukaryotes are cells like animal cells, plant cells, and fungi cells. They contain membrane-bound organelles such as a nuclei and mitochondria. So some of the key things that you need to know about eukaryotes are that they include plant and animal cells, they have a cell membrane, they have cytoplasm, the cells are relatively large, and they have genetic material enclosed in a nucleus. Prokaryotes, so things like bacteria, are much more simple. They are generally only single-celled. These cells do not contain membrane-bound organelles. So some key things that you would need to think about are the prokaryotes include bacterial cells, they have cytoplasm, they have cell membranes, the cells are relatively small, the genetic material is not encased in a nucleus. So you have delocalized genetic material. Although bacteria have single loops of DNA called plasmids. So if we think about which types of cells are generally bigger, the answer to that would be eukaryotes. Animal cells carry out processes in the body, including producing proteins, storing energy, things like that. Some of the organelles that we find in both plant and animal cells, so cell membranes, that's the thing that surrounds the cell and controls what enters and leaves the cell. The nucleus controls cellular activity and contains the DNA. The cytoplasm is the jelly-like substance where chemical reactions within the cell take place. The mitochondria is where respiration takes place. And ribosomes are the organelles that produce proteins. So if we think about a cell that needs to carry out more respiration, so what organelle would it need more of? It would need more mitochondria. Some organelles that you only find in plants, things like cell wall. So the cell wall is the structure that goes outside of a cell membrane. It's made from cellulose and it helps give the plant cell its harder structure. The vacuole, so the vacuole is the space within the cytoplasm and contains sap. And chloroplast, these contain chlorophyll and are the site of photosynthesis. So if we think about what is the function of the ribosome, the function of the ribosome is to produce proteins because the ribosome is the site of protein synthesis. Bacterial cells are prokaryotes. So prokaryotes are unicellular organisms that lack organelles or other membrane-bound structures. They therefore do not have a nucleus. They've got either delocalized DNA or a ring of DNA called a plasmid. So in the diagram that we'll look at next, there's some structures A to C. So if we're looking at naming those structures, then A would be the cell wall, B would be the cytoplasm, and C would be the plasmid. If we look at giving one difference between the structure of a bacterial cell and an animal cell, things like animal cells have a nucleus, bacterial cells don't. That is the important thing that you'd need to mention. So name one structure that is found in a plant cell but is not found in a bacteria or an animal cell. It would be a chloroplast. So the next diagram, or the diagram, shows an animal cell and a bacterial cell. So structures A and B are found in both animal cells and bacterial cells. So what are they? So A is cytoplasm, B is a cell membrane. If we look at fungi, so these are things like mushrooms, toadstools, yeast. So some of the key features of fungi is that fungal cells have a cell wall made out of chitin, so not cellulose. They can be multicellular. Multicellular fungi go and spread out using hyphae. And fungi cannot carry out photosynthesis, so instead they use saprototic nutrition, so they secrete enzymes onto the food which digest them, then they absorb that nutrients.
Thanks for watching.